Jason, would you want to bring up the PowerPoint here?
Yes, I can. Share my screen and we'll begin.
All right. So like I mentioned, this is about the Refugee Career Pathways Program, specifically for information technology, IT. And so if that's something that you might be interested in, and if you are a refugee attending school or planning to attend school in any of the Los Rios colleges, then this is the right presentation for you. Again, my name is Luke. I'm with the International Rescue Committee, and also on is Jason. We can go to the next slide here.
Great. Thanks, Luke. So like Luke mentioned, today's presentation will cover a variety of topics in the IT career field, starting off with an industry overview, some just numbers and career outlook on the information technologies career field. We'll then dig a little deeper into the different potential career pathways that the IT field has to offer, and I guess trainings and different things that are that would be beneficial to have in order to become employed in those different areas. We'll go over the IRC supportive services that we provide to help you achieve those career goals, the different services and programs that we provide to assist in that accomplishment. And then we'll have questions at the end, but please, again, throughout the presentation, if you have questions come up, you can either come off mute or enter them in the chat, and we'd be happy to answer those for you. So
thanks, Jason. Just before we hop into IT, just a very brief overview and the International Rescue Committee, IRC, our role in this process. Essentially, what it looks like to work with the IRC. If you're interested in a career pathway and you are a refugee, then we would get your contact information, give you a call, go through an assessment to see if you're eligible and enroll you in our program. Really what we offer is career readiness. So this is a group of workshops and one-on-one counseling where you have a go-to coach that meets with you, talks to you about the field that you're planning to enter, or really different pathways in that field, talks about your skills, and from that creates a goal setting document. Might be 3-5 years of goals in the future, but also focuses on the short term. And then we make a specific action plan to make sure that you can get there and be successful. Steps on the action plan might include enrollment in school in Los Rios or continuing classes that you might already be enrolled in, as well as completion of some of the many workshops that we offer on resume creation, professional writing, networking, and then we help anybody enrolled to make sure that they're able to stay in school, stay in those classes, be successful. If you're struggling, then we're able to tutor you or provide resources to make sure that you're able to pass, get a certificate, credential in your field. And then we work with the students or clients that we support very much in job development, meaning we're always out there in the community talking with employers about the many refugee clients that we work with and why they're a really strong value to add into their existing employee pool. So we spend a lot of time working with employers to be able to network and be able to pass on your resume and your information to make sure that you're able to get to that dream job, or at least the first job in that dream career.
thanks, Luke. So just a brief overview of the industry in information technology, just some stats and numbers to start us off. These all come from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and are within the next few years. So as you can see, locally, there's a 5% and nationally a 13% projected job growth throughout the industry of IT, which is about on average of growth throughout industries. So it is a good field to be in. It is growing, and continual growth will improve from here. Locally, there are 38,000 jobs in IT currently, with an addition 1,900 jobs being created within the next 3 years and by 2024. So really there is a good projection, and you're in the right spot. There will be a lot of potential and a lot of opportunity that, some roles that you may go into and be employed at may not even be in existence today. And so there's just a lot of opportunity and a lot of potential for you to develop the skills and that you have, as well as continue seeking opportunities, as there'll be a variety of different options for you. And another just stat then is there's been in the past annually about 27,105 jobs posted annually. So again, the opportunities are out there, and there's many chances for both, throughout college, and then once you graduate, many opportunities for you to pursue those goals that you have and really be able to continue developing those skills that you are currently developing now in college, and really putting them to action once you start your career. This is just kind of an overview of what employers are looking for based off some data. We found that currently those in-demand jobs are some of these job titles listed on the left. Software developers, web application developers as well are big in demand, as well as computer user support. And these names and titles can vary. It can be anything from a help desk support user, a similar role as computer user support. But another big one as well is the computer systems engineer, software engineer as well. So these are some of the in-demand jobs that do take additional training. Being at a community college, it may require additional training, education, but they are some as well that you can fill right after completing your degree here at college. Some of the hardest jobs to fill, as posted here, list out as IT project managers, ranging from database architect, graphic designer, and desktop publisher. Those just are because of the difficulty of years of experience required for those managerial roles, or the specific skill set that it takes as well. And then on the right, some things that may be interested of you as you continue developing new skills and looking into different softwares and trainings that may be of interest to you. These different desired skills may come in handy as well to really know which ones are beneficial for employers currently looking for those. And so that includes SQL, Java, JavaScript, and then some more soft skill ones of project management, customer service, and technical support. There are, of course, those skills that are acquired through the technical side of things, but also it's important to know as well that your soft skills and how you interact, your interpersonal communication with others, is also an important aspect of the job. And so to continue developing those throughout your college education and in classes is a great way to develop that. So we wanted to review some of the potential career pathways that could look very similar to one that you would take, or one that you may have as an end goal. And so this is a pathway, kind of a stepping ladder, as we like to call it, that really shows those different job titles that you potentially could acquire, and what inputs or requirements are needed for each of those steps. And then, of course, there are those stats and kind of requirements for each job title, what's needed, or what is the hourly pay for each of those. And so this is just one potential one. You may start off, say, as a computer support specialist, help desk support, IT support specialist, a variety of different job titles, but that could be just a very one that could be an entry level. And then, you're on your path and, obtaining your degree now in your community college, as well as, acquiring some skills on different softwares like Java, JavaScript, and that then can help you to reach that next level of becoming a web developer or an application developer. then, from there, you may want to take the next step of becoming a software engineer, something that has, requires a bachelor degree. It also requires maybe some additional years of experience. You can just see from this pathway how we don't achieve our end goal just overnight, that really it takes additional inputs, additional experience and time to really be able to meet that end term goal. But really we are there along the way to help you make those steps and help you be successful in your career. And so that's just kind of an overview of one potential pathway in your IT career field. Additionally, we wanted to review some other pathways that you may be interested in. So we may have, you may be interested in more in data science or in cybersecurity. That's one that's growing a lot. And so I want to, if that's all right, let's see if I can share my screen here and show this website. Can everyone see that all right?
That's working.
Okay, perfect. So this is just a very interactive website that that CompTIA, many of you may be familiar with, as it's one that has a lot of different IT trainings for. And so it's a great website to come to learn about the different career pathways in IT. It splits it up between 5 really main categories within IT. The one we've talked a lot about of the support specialist, but then networking, cybersecurity, software and web developers, and then data science. And so as you click into this just initially gives you kind of a snapshot of national salary, how many job postings, and then the expected growth within each field and how that looks for each one. And then if you were interested in, let's say, cybersecurity, you can kind of learn more about what exactly that entails. And then you can learn more as we click on this and really kind of get a deeper dive of the career field itself. And because depending on where you're at in your IT education, IT is just for me, it's such a big, it entails a lot. And so this just, I think, can help you narrow down. It's a great tool to narrow down what interests you specifically have, learn more about what that entails, but then as well understand that career pathway, what it takes to become a cybersecurity specialist or have a role within cybersecurity, what other job titles are available, and what's your medium salary going to be, and how many postings, what's the potential like. It's just a great tool. And it also shows here some specific certifications that you can take in order to accomplish that and become a cybersecurity professional. And again, so this is just a great tool. We can share this link with you, but this just is one that really can provide a lot of benefit to you if you have questions or don't know as much of what area of interest you think you may have. It's just a great tool to explore and to learn more. So we can go back to our presentation.
All right. Great. Well, thanks. So I'm going to go over a little bit of the services that we provide, and I'll talk a little bit about what this might look like for the IT field. But also, if you're interested in another field, these are generally the services that we provide the refugees that we're able to serve through our program. So starting off with the program, we've been delivering career development services for refugees in the community for almost 5 years now. And really this need originated from the vast amount of skills and experiences that refugees, especially SIBs, are coming to the US with. and the many challenges that exist in being able to take your experience, your work experience, or at least that education from overseas to the US, because the US has some very regimented practices, like when we look at needs for credentials, certificates, and even interview processes that can really make it difficult for those that are new to the US. So it's really a necessary program. And what we've found over time is that it's certainly successful, that refugees do bring a lot of skills, and with a little bit of assistance through this program and with assistance through training facilities like Los Rios, we're really able to make sure that those that we serve are successful in getting a credential and getting a better job after the program. So how do we do that? The first step is goal setting. I detailed this a little bit before. We have worked with, by now, dozens of different professionals interested in the field of IT, certainly hundreds of different refugees in setting their goals. And when we're doing professional goal setting, we treat you, our client, as somebody that is resourceful, knowledgeable about what's best for you. And so we guide the conversation. We talk about different resources that you could bring in. We ask questions, but we're never going to tell you exactly what you need to do, because at the end of the day, you know what's best for you as far as what you want and what you're interested in. And we're just there to set action plans and set goals so that you can get there. So we do goal setting. We also do career mapping. And that's a little bit about what Jason was talking about, where there's so many different possibilities that you can embark on in your career. And it's really important to map out exactly how you're going to get there. So we'll set a plan to make sure that you know the next steps to be successful in your career. We go over the development of professional skills, and that's through our career education classes. We'll talk a little bit about that next. But these are essentially classes that we offer outside of the certification or credential programs, and it's more focused on making sure that you're successful in your career outside of some of the technical skills that might be necessary. So we'll discuss that in a little bit. We also assist everybody that we work with to make sure that they're able to get into high quality technical trainings. So Jason discussed some of the IT trainings available. That could be through Los Rios. It could be through other community training providers. Really, it's our goal to make sure that you're able to find and pay for. We have a bunch of scholarships and different assistance to provide you to make sure that you're able to get into those trainings that are best for you to meet your end goal, whether that's immediate employment or employment within a year or so. And then we also provide that one-on-one assistance. When you're enrolled in the program, you have a coach. They are your go-to coach, your go-to person whenever you have a problem, even if it's when you're on the job and something happens with your employer and you want some assistance navigating it, your coach is there for you every step of the way. All right, so our career education, advanced career training, as we call it, is really going to be the guide to make sure, you know, even if you're qualified for the job, that you're a very good fit when somebody's looking at the resume that you might send over, or when we're setting you up with one of our employer partners to have that interview, or if you're looking for employment opportunities yourself, you have the necessary skills to put your name out there, whether that's on LinkedIn or just different job networking sites or in person, and you're going to visit employers. So a couple of the things that we provide, we talked a little bit about goal setting. Of course, that is a course that we provide that's usually more one-on-one. And then we also go over resume building. We're going to talk about how a resume in the IT field should look, how it's different than a traditional resume. We'll share a couple templates, and after that class, you'll have a go-to IT resume that would really pass as far as what's required today in the field. Any of these trainings that we provide, we're informed by, meaning we talk to employers, we talk with training providers about really what's needed in the IT field. So we're always changing this content to make sure that it's useful for you and helps you get ahead in your career. We'll talk a little bit about funding your careers. This might not be for the VERSE vocational training. Usually we're able to pay up to 100%. Usually we pay all the way 100% of any training costs that you might have. But you might have a training that you want to do in 4 or 5 years, or go through, get your bachelor's in computer science. So we'll talk a little bit about scholarships that might be available and ways that you can start saving. We'll also talk about job search and networking. It's 9 out of 10 jobs in the United States that are filled out of knowing the right person. They're from word of mouth referrals from somebody inside the company. That is crazy. 90% of the jobs you wouldn't be able to get unless you knew the right person. So help us help you in connecting you to who that right person is. And the way we do that is we go and we talk to employers, talk about who we are, and talk about the amazing candidates that we work with, which would be you in this case, of course. And since we've been doing this a while, there's a lot of different employers that we work with and that understand the refugees, the applicants that we send over are really highly skilled and bring with them a lot of experience. So that's job search and networking. We'll go over other sites like Glassdoor and LinkedIn also during that time. And then we go into interview preparation. There are just so many ways to prepare for an interview, especially depending on the sector that we're working in. And there's very specific questions, especially in IT, that we should prepare people for. So we're always doing that one-on-one prep. Even once you've started interviewing, we'll go through, coach you through. We'll talk about parts of the interview that went well, parts that you might improve on. We'll also meet with employers to get their feedback to make sure that the next interview you have will be the one that might be more successful. And our goal is always just a little improvement time after time. So that's advanced interview preparation. Then we'll also go over professional writing. In IT, professional writing is, of course, still important. You'd be expected to write a cover letter, and then having that professional email correspondence is such an important part during the hiring process, and of course, when you're employed. So our advanced career training is really geared to make sure that you're not just successful in getting your first job in the US, but also successful in staying in that job and getting a promotion and being able to move up and maintain your career. At IRC, we're able to benefit from the assistance of volunteer mentors and of course our trained staff. But volunteer mentors are individuals in the community that have experience, meaning that they've worked for IT companies, potentially even hired people for IT positions, and want to give back to the community and share a little bit about their experience. So while I myself have not worked specifically in the IT field, I'm able to meet with these mentors, pair them with you to make sure that you really have an in-depth understanding of what the world of IT is, whether that's specifically in a certification or a specific field of work, or just want to know how you might want to present yourself in front of an IT HR expert, or just maybe a CEO of an IT company. All right, and my favorite thing about this program, and I'm sure if you were to enroll at the end, your favorite thing too would be that it's successful, that the clients that we work with, the refugee candidates that we support, are able to get into those high wage, high paying careers, of course, that you have the experience for after just a little bit of assistance through this program, and of course, the process in getting you through that training or vocational training. So here's just one of many successes that we've had through the program. This is a client that I first started working with maybe 3 years ago. And this is a familiar story for many, but before he enrolled, he was in the US for 2 years and was working entry-level employment jobs at a warehousing facility. He had 2 or 3 different jobs in that time, because the truth is they didn't relate to the 10 years of experience, professional experience he had in the field of IT. So this is somebody that came to the US with a lot of skills, but because of the barriers that are sometimes in the way of somebody new to the US, and some of those things that we talked about regarding challenges in interviewing or networking. He was really held back and didn't know the best path forward. So a little bit of the services we provided here to Amanullah. We did our soft skill development. We worked with him and talked about the many things that might be different in the employment process from Afghanistan, where he was from, and here in the US. And of course, that doesn't mean that his understanding of the employment process was wrong, but it was just different than here in the US. So we went over that in the classes that we provided. We, of course, made a long-term career map that he's still working on because it was set up for 5 years. We completed that first initial 1-year goal, but he's still working on those long-term goals. And then we did a technical training that really targeted exactly what he needed to get into. So he did have a lot of experience in one specific area and needed to broaden his horizons a little bit. And so we did a specific 3-month training program. I'd say for most in IT, it's likely to be a couple of semesters to make sure that you're able to get all of that information and the certificate as well, which is pretty important for IT. And then, of course, I worked with Amanullah day after day for a job development meeting. We were working together, talking with employers, giving follow-up calls, which is so important, and just every day luckily for Amanullah, it didn't take too long after finishing that training. He got a job where he was making 2 times more than he was making beforehand, which is usually what those in our program can expect is about 100% increase in their wages after successfully graduating the program. And that employer, after a month having Amanullah, called me back and said, whoever you have, send me more, because we know that this program is able to link employers with the types of employees that they might need after just a little bit of assistance that we provide. Amanullah is still at that company. He's gone through 3 promotions in about 3 years now, and he's given back, meaning he's come to IRC to help us better understand trainings that we can provide. And this is all in our curriculum, which you'll be able to benefit from in enrolling in the program. All right, so if you're interested in the Refugee Career Pathways program with the International Rescue Committee, here are some things that you should consider. Do you have the desire to pursue professional employment, which is usually 40 hours a week of work that you'll need to be dedicated towards? And usually those schedules could be anywhere from Monday to Friday, might include weekends depending on the field. So really think about that. Do you want to work in the professional field here in the US? It's good to have career goals. Of course, we can help establish these and talk a little bit about them when we meet, and we spend a lot of time doing that. But it certainly helps if you can, in your mind, have a certain vision of where you want to be in 3 years or 5 years or just 1 year professionally. We'd ask that you have the availability to attend career trainings. We know so many of the people that we work with are busy. They might be working 9 to 5 and their first job in the US and still trying to provide for their families. They might be going to trainings. So we schedule these around your schedule, and they're going to be virtual so that you don't need to come in person and instead could do it from your home. That's totally fine. And then these are things that are preferred but not required. It helps to have US-based work experience. Just a quick story. I had a client who I enrolled. They didn't have work experience in the US, and we were able to get them a job in the finance field, which I was very excited for. The first day of work, they showed up 15 minutes late. This wouldn't be a huge challenge from their home country, where punctuality is a little bit different, and they didn't expect that to be such an issue, but they showed up 15 minutes late on their first day, and they were told not to come back. I would really rather those little mistakes you might make or learning lessons to be done in your first job in the US instead of your first job in your career. So that is something that we usually consider. And it also helps to be currently employed. We essentially just want to make sure that if you're participating in our program, you're able to sustain, yourself, your family, and participate fully. So we want to make sure that you have some type of income, even if that means benefits. So we would go over that just to make sure that you're financially stable. All right, so that's it as far as our content and information on IT and refugee career pathways. Our information is right down here, but we do want to hear if you have any questions. Of course, if you're interested in the program, I'm going to put in chat the best email and phone number to reach out to, but definitely want to hear any questions that you might have about our program.
I also just put in the chat the website that we looked at earlier that you can take a look at and review later on as well.
All right, and then this is the email for Jamie, and I'll also include her phone number here shortly. But if you're interested in applying for the program and starting with these services, send Jamie an email, potentially with your resume or just stating that you're interested. You could also reach out to Jason and I, but Jamie would be able to respond to you much quicker to schedule a time to meet virtually or in person, which we'll start doing next month. All right, any questions before we conclude here? See, Daria, you don't have any questions. We hope to be hearing from you soon. Great. Well, thank you everybody so much for your time. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.